You think we're preparing to depart for the stars?
Well, on the scale of 100 or 1,000 years, I think it's an unavoidable conclusion. And that span of time in geological terms is hardly the wink of an eye. In fact, all of human history, from that perspective, appears as a preparation for human transcendence of the planetary existence.
Do we want to get away from the planet?
Well, I think you have to take the view that certainly the planet is the cradle of mankind, but inevitably one cannot remain in the cradle forever. The human imagination, in conjunction with technology, has become a force so potent that it really can no longer be unleashed on the surface of the planet with safety. The human imagination has gained such an immense power that the only environment that is friendly to it is actually the vacuum of deep space. It is there that we can erect the architectonic dreams that drive us to produce a Los Angeles or a Tokyo, and do it on a scale and in such a way that it will be fulfilling rather than degrading. So yes, I think we cannot move forward in understanding without accepting as a consequence of that we have to leave the planet, that we are no longer the bipedal monkeys we once were. We have become almost a new force in nature, a thing of language and cybernetics and an amalgam of computers and human brains and societal structures that has such an enormous forward momentum that the only place where it can express itself without destroying itself is, as James Joyce says, up in the ant.
So long ago in a faraway galaxy, Star Wars style may be in our future?
Well,
as opposed to our past?
It's in our present, I think. Our future is probably almost unimaginable, because I think the transformation that leaving the planet will bring will also involve a transformation of our consciousness. We are not going as 1950-style human beings. We are going to have to transform our minds before we are going to be able to leave the planet with any amount of grace. This is where I think the psychedelics come in, because they are anticipations of the future. They seem to channel information that is not strictly governed by the laws of normal causality, so that there really is a prophetic dimension, a glimpse of the potential of the far centuries of the future through these compounds. And no cultural shift of this magnitude can be unambiguous. I mean, the very idea that as a species we would leave the earth behind us must be as rending an idea as that a child would leave its childhood home. Obviously, it's a turning away from something that once left behind can never be recaptured. However, this is the nature of going forward into being, a series of self-transforming ascents of level, and we now simply happen to be at that moment of ascent to a new level that is linked to leaving the planetary surface physically and to reconnecting with the contents of the unconscious collectivity of our minds. These two things will be done simultaneously. This is what the last half of the 20th century, it seems to me, is all about.
Well, by and large, psychedelics have really not been accepted into the mainstream. Do you see a change in that?
Well, not particularly. They hold a certain fascination for a persistent majority, and in that way they do their catalytic work upon society, which is to introduce new ideas and to release a certain kind of creative energy into society. I certainly would not like to see a return to the the psychedelic hysterias of the 1960s. I think it's fine that these things are now the subject of interest of a much smaller group of people, but perhaps a group of people with a greater commitment and a better idea of exactly what these things are. And it's really the same people. It's just a smaller group of them, and they have accumulated experience over the past 20 years. However, I certainly don't think all psychedelic frontiers are conquered. One of the things that I write about and speak about are the phenomena that many people confirm with the psilocybin family of hallucinogens that no one has included in the standard model of psychedelic drugs. And by that I refer to the logos-like phenomenon of an interiorized voice that seems to be almost a superhuman agency, a kind of genus loci. And I've been writing recently about alien intelligence, which is what I call this, where you have contact with an entity so beyond the normal structure of the ego that if it is not an extraterrestrial, it might as well be, because its bizarreness and its distance from ordinary expectations about what can go on is so great that if flying saucers arrived here tomorrow from the Pleiades, it would make this mystery no less compelling. It amuses me that the scientific community has taken over the search for extraterrestrial intelligence and defined it as they care to define it, and have erected radio telescopes to search the galaxy for these signals. And the world's largest radio telescope is at Arecibo in Puerto Rico. And within the shadow of that installation, mushrooms grow in the fields, and the cows munch quietly in the sunshine. And it's this marvelous interpenetration of the near and the far away, because I believe that the place to search for extraterrestrials is in the psychic dimension, and there the problem is not the absence of contact, but the volume of contact that must be sifted through, because the fact of the matter is shaman and mystics and seers have been hearing voices and talking to gods and demons since the Paleolithic and probably before. That doesn't mean that we can rule out this approach to communication. It seems to me far more likely that an advanced civilization would communicate interdimensionally and telepathically. The amounts of time available for an intelligent species to evolve these kinds of communication are vast. So I think that it's very interesting then that the tryptamines, psilocybin and DMT, at the 15 milligram level very reliably trigger what could only be described as contact-like phenomena, and not only the interiorized voice in the head, but also the classical flying saucer motifs of the whirling disc, the lens-shaped object, the alien approach. This seems to be something hardwired into the human psyche, and I would like to find out why. I think it's a very odd fact of human psychology, and I don't buy any of the current theories ranging from that nothing at all is happening to that this is in fact another species with a world around another star that is getting in touch with us. I think it's something so bizarre that it actually masquerades as an extraterrestrial so as not to alarm us by the true implications of what it is.